Hello there! Welcome to the world of Pokemon. My name is Braden.
My name is Will.
People call us Pokemon professors. People call our podcast Beyond the Ball. We talk about Pokemon that inhabit this world, and we read all of their Pokedex entries and talk about them. Last week, we talked about the Pokemon Yanma. So this week, we're talking about Yanma's evolution, Yanmega.
Not a mega evolution.
Not a mega evolution.
Don't get it twisted. It's
No.
just Yanmega.
Yes. And you just heard its cry there, and I love it, and it's very kind of indicative of what we're getting into here.
Yeah, I appreciate the nice thing about doing Pokemon from the later generations is that their cries are not just like weird sounds that could be produced by a Game Boy, like
right.
like
I mean,
they've upped
this
their audio fidelity a little bit. So
yeah,
it's
this
not just
this
like
one's this one still kind of is like it's still a little early, but it's also like I don't know, it kind of sounds like someone just getting ready to like start shredding on a guitar or like
revving up a
revving up.
motorcycle or
Yeah, which is perfect because that's exactly what it seems like Yanma does to evolve. Like it's
just gets
got
a
these.
little bit more metal, a little bit more souped up.
Yeah, it's got like a mohawk now and some fangs and some like sharp claws, and its eyes
Yeah,
look angry now.
it looks
It's
much more predatory than Yanma.
yeah,
Yanmega is definitely much more of a all business bug.
yeah. It's what it reminds me of
Its eyes
is
are weirder too.
yeah. Are you at all familiar with the popular '90s film franchise Short Circuit?
Um, I remember watching it when I was a little kid. I remember very little about it. It's a robot who's a
Yeah,
friendly little robot, and he
yeah.
wanders around.
Here's what he looks like in the first movie, and then
Okay, looks familiar.
in the second movie, there's a really tragic scene where he gets like beat up and torn apart by these like hoodlums or something. I can't
Like
remember
we hate
exactly.
robots.
Yeah, and that's early in the movie, and then he kind of rebuilds himself, but he kind of like he goes
Beefs himself
bad.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
he
he's
gets
like, oh, I
punked,
can't
so he
trust.
looks like this now.
Oh boy, I'm excited for this. Holy shit!
So
He's
he,
got
you
like
know,
chains and shit.
yeah, he gets a mohawk. He's got
So
some chains,
this
some
is
spikes.
short circuit too. Then
Yes.
short circuit
Um,
goes bad.
yeah, Short Circuit gets Johnny Five gets an attitude.
So in other words, what you're saying is someone beat up little Yanma, and Yanma was like, "No more. This far, no further. Now I'm punk rock and sharp.
Yep, that's
I see it. It's just like it's punk rock Yanma.
pretty much. And unless you don't want to mess with Yanmega, like
Yeah,
I
yeah. This
we
there's
haven't
yeah.
gotten into it quite yet, but I think our deadliness rating is definitely going to jump up.
Mm.
Um, let's get the facts out of the way though. This is Yanmega number 469, bug flying type, the ogre Darner Pokemon, which I guess Darner is just like a type of mosquito, right? It's
Yeah,
like a
it's a bug.
or a dragonfly.
Yeah, a Darner dragonfly. But I don't think that generally. Well, let's see. I'm googling ogre Darner. Eh, I think it's just a Pokemon thing.
Okay, but you know Darners are a real thing, and just imagine that I guess mixed with an ogre and uh, Johnny Five from Short Circuit 2. um, its height is about 6 feet 3 inches, weighing 113 and a half pounds.
Yeah.
So a little bigger,
I mean, we
you know.
discussed last time that height is probably actually length in this case. So it's
Right, right.
twice as long as it was. It's 6 feet long. So it's a person. It's a person size. It's a
Yeah.
big person.
Yeah. Um, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yep.
its size is a factor in some of these entries for sure.
The name origin this time says, again, Yanma, from Japanese for large dragonfly, and then they say that the mega is coming from Meganeura, an extinct species of insect, which is it's a giant dragonfly.
Hmm.
Um, which like okay, sure. I kind of feel like they just put mega in the name. Like
What in
maybe it's specifically from that, or maybe they were just like it's better
in
Yanma. It's mega
in
Yanma.
in Japan where they never ever use superlative adjectives to describe things?
In any case, either option works. I guess we can trust to Pokemon database. I don't know where they're getting their name origin information.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just kind of if they've read like this encyclopedia behind the scenes
Right, dude.
how we how
If
we came up with them,
if
but
they have access to more information than we do, then
yeah.
we need to do some digging. We need to
Hmm.
get a hold of those sources that Pokemon DB is using.
But yeah, it's a mega style Yanma, but not a mega evolution. Just
Right.
kind of yeah,
Let's talk about what it's capable of.
sure.
Um, so first entry is from Diamond, and it says, by churning its wings, it creates shock waves that inflict critical internal injuries to foes.
So we've leveled up from shattering windows to shattering internal
Organs.
organs.
Yeah,
Um, Also, I don't know, churning is that
churning. Yeah, I don't know. Is that not what it does normally to fly? Whatever. It's a weird word choice. Churning its
so?
wings.
Yeah, so it could always create shockwaves before, but
Right.
Yanma
And the
could
shockwaves
just
were powerful, but it would
yes,
just break your windows. It wouldn't like cause you to start bleeding. Not, it doesn't just say that inflict internal injuries to foes. It says critical internal injuries. Like
yeah,
you need to go to the hospital
yeah,
because that's how powerful this thing's wings are. Which is like, does it even need to fight then? It can just like fly in circles around its opponent and just like liquefy it, you know?
yeah. I mean, you know, it's hard to say how these are how these descriptions are used in relation to like other Pokemon fighting
Right.
them or something
To
like.
use a recent example, if you churned your wings near Scizor, whatever the hell, then it's made of metal. I don't know if you could inflict
Yeah,
critical internal injuries.
or Onyx.
You'd probably just help it to stay cool and prevent it from melting.
Yeah, but like a big rock Pokemon, resistant to flying
Hmm.
type attacks,
But
but
if this thing
still.
buzzes by like a Chansey or something, then it's like, oh, all the eggs are broken. Everything is a mess.
Or or if you, a human being, get on the wrong side of a Yanmega.
Right.
Yeah.
Get on the wrong side of maybe because you pissed it off, or maybe because you just stood too close to it and it took off, and now your
Yeah.
your spleen ruptured
Whoops.
from those shock waves, which is like, I guess, okay, so that's the thing that happens. Like when explosion happens, the fire will hurt you and such, but also like, yeah, it's the blast, the shock wave that can do a lot of the damage. So
Hmm.
yeah, just its wings are comparable to like, I don't know, a grenade or something. Anyway,
Explosive force. Yeah, it's yeah.
you need to wear a
And
bomb suit if you want to own this Pokemon.
but yeah, no, not just its wings though. What's the
Yeah,
next one?
Platinum says its jaw power is incredible. It is adept at biting foes apart while flying by at high speed.
So it's gonna fly by you and critically like damage your internal organs,
Right. As
and
and
then
as
it's gonna start biting you apart.
right, and then externally it's going to bite you apart. And I like that it's
Oh,
like it's not like it stops and like chews on you. It's like it flies by and it's just like, whoop, got a piece. Oh, got
yep.
another piece. Like just
Yeah, just like
taking little bits off.
imagining this like tornado of a
Mhm.
Yanmega just kind of flying around you, slowly picking you apart as your internal organs rupture.
Yeah.
It's just
God
like,
damn.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a real monster.
Yeah. A real piece of work. Um,
I mean, it's only doing this to its foes so far. So
Sure. Yeah. And we haven't seen anything about prey yet, which is interesting.
yeah, which is the start of a trend where we've kind of discussed prey in their basic forms, but once they evolve, it's more talk about foes and
Right.
enemies.
They've specialized into being battling Pokemon, not
Yeah,
like wild survival Pokemon.
yeah,
Which kind of makes sense because they only evolve when they've been like trained by a trainer. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes you find evolved
yeah,
forms of Pokemon in the wild, but
sure.
like
But
fighting in
experience,
battle
combat
is what,
experience,
yeah, causes them to evolve usually.
or finding a rock or something.
Yeah. Okay. Heart Gold says this six-legged Pokemon is easily capable of transporting an adult in flight. The wings on its tail help it stay balanced,
Aw.
presumably always and not just when it's transporting adults.
I don't think Yanma didn't have little tail wings, did it?
Uh,
Oh, kinda. They weren't explicitly wings. They weren't like clear.
yeah, yeah, they were more like little stabilizer fins. It's
Yeah.
similar though. Um,
Um.
so
So
yeah,
so
it's
like we said, it's about 6 feet long. So
right.
as tall as a human being. So if you just kind of let it wrap you up in its little 6 legs there, you can go for a ride.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, I
And
mean,
presumably, if you're like being cradled by it, you can kind of avoid the shock waves of its churning wings.
I guess. I mean, because it's like no, those wings are powerful enough to keep it aloft, and then it turns out also an adult human, which
Yeah.
presumably would weigh even more than it does. It only weighs
Yep.
113 pounds. That's a smallish person.
Hmm.
Um, so I would think that it would have to churn its wings a little harder to get itself and you off the ground.
I
But okay,
mean,
so it might be that its wings, it's not like it just flying around is causing internal injuries. It's like it intentionally churns its wings
yeah,
as like an attack,
it
right?
has to like helicopter mode its wings or something. I don't know how,
Right.
how bugs fly. They kind of alternate them. Like maybe it can just like flap a little bit and fly normally, but
Right. So I'm saying, yeah, like the power of these wings is like so far beyond what it needs to be to actually
hmm
make this Pokemon fly that it's like, I could flap a little harder and carry a human person, or I could flap even harder and rupture the organs of everyone
yeah,
around me.
yeah. If I really start churning them,
If I really want to churn it up, churn up, churn up, churn up your guts.
ugh.
I really also this is something that's going to recur at least a few more times. Just using the metric of like human adults
Oh
as
yeah,
like it's not like it can carry this amount of weight or it's like no, I can easily transport a human adult, which is just like oh, saw one like pick up a dude and fly around with him or something.
or he just kind of like crawled in and was like,
It's
all
like
right, let's
take
go.
me away.
I
Which
mean, yeah,
is, do you know if this Yanmega can learn fly?
probably,
Because that is essentially what it's describing is the move fly. For those
yeah.
uninitiated, a move that Pokemon can learn in the game that allows them to transport you around the map,
Hmm.
which, doesn't look like they learn fly, which is dumb because, like, you specifically just told me that it can carry an adult human.
Well, see, when you fly, you kind of ride on the back of the Pokemon.
Right. You're in control.
Yeah, you retain some dignity,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yanmega will just take you where it wants to take you.
yeah,
You have no say. I like also that they just amend stuff like the wings on its tail help keep it balanced. Like that's been a thing in a few other entries where like they say something just like totally wild and then they're also
hmm
like it's popular in Alola. And you're like, well, okay, sure.
cool.
It seems unrelated, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take all the info I can get. These entries are like 1 to 2 sentences, maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, any extra info would be great because like clearly we need more info because what is this thing capable of?
Yeah.
Case in point. Soul Silver says, the beat of its wings is so powerful that it accidentally dislodges full-grown trees when it takes off in flight. I,
uh,
okay, so this kind of puts my whole theory to bed about like, oh, maybe it can just flap a little harder as a weapon, but it's like it's accidentally dislodging full-grown trees when it takes off. Like
yeah.
that seems like even more power than any of the previously described.
That's gonna, yeah. If it's anywhere near like structures of any kind and it takes off to fly, its primary
It's
mode
gonna
of
damage
transportation,
them. Yeah.
it's gonna wreck some stuff up. Like
Yeah. It's
full
they,
grown trees.
yeah,
That's
right.
huge.
Full grown. They're not talking about bushes or saplings or anything. We're talking about like an old growth oak tree, like with a root system is getting dislodged. Whatever, I mean, dislodged, that's pretty clear. Like ripped out of the ground, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just like wiggling it, dislodged full grown trees when it takes on flight accidentally. Um, That's incredibly destructive. I don't
Yeah.
know, like if they live in a forest, then do they just like destroy it?
I can't, like, I hope there's not too many, you know, around, but like I'm looking, one of the pictures I have here is from the anime. There's like four of them together. It's like that's gonna destroy a city.
Yeah, I mean that's hurricane force winds, right? Like
Yeah.
if you say Yanmega, I choose you, and to select your Pokemon, and it goes out there and it's like just sitting on the ground, you're like, oh no, it needs to take off, and then like there is a shockwave that blasts everyone around
Yeah, but
backwards, like
before you even tell it to use a move, like it'll
it's gonna
destroy
it's
stuff.
gonna fly. So yeah, these wings, they look like dragonfly wings. They're apparently capable of producing like hurricane force winds, which I mean, Scyther's or excuse me, Scizzor's dinky little wings are able to cool it and prevent it from heating to like thousands of degrees. So like some pretty good wings in the
Yeah.
Pokemon universe. Pretty freaking powerful
I would
wing
say like this is
power.
probably, I don't know, there's a handful of bug flying types out there, but I think this is kind of the pinnacle of bug and flying.
Hmm. Right. Like that kind of flying power is I mean if there was any more then it would be like world destroying. Like it's
Yeah.
already pretty insanely destructive. Um,
Yeah, this is like someone powering up in Dragon Ball Z and like mountains cracking around them and
right. Which is
stuff.
like, the more of these we do, the more we have to consider that living in the world of Pokemon is kind of like that. Like
Yeah,
natural disasters all the time. All the time. Because just like forests getting torn apart, like mountains getting knocked down.
it's
It's
like,
just
oh, Yanmega's flying. I guess there goes
yeah,
another forest.
there's some animals going by. Hopefully, Pokemon people in Pokemon World are really really good at like constructing very very sturdy structures.
They're not. You saw that episode of the anime where tentacruels
Oh
like
yeah,
destroy a city.
yeah, I did see that one. Yeah, man, it's a rough life.
Yeah.
Good thing you've got like Pokemon battling to distract you from the fact that Pokemon are constantly destroying your life.
Listen, gotta catch 'em all is kind of a fun motivational mantra, but like we gotta stop them.
Yeah, we have to catch them all so that they stop destroying our world. This
And it's like, I get it. We're destroying the planet too.
this is
Pollution
this
and
is
all
a
that.
world this
But
is a world where the planet is fighting back.
yeah,
What humans are capable of is nothing as
we're
compared to this.
we're on the brink. We need to catch them all.
Yeah. Black and White 2. Black 2 and White 2. I am not clear on my Pokemon game progression.
Black and White came out, and then they released Black and White 2, I
So I
think.
sort of like Sun and Moon and then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and
Yeah.
that stuff. Okay. Uh okay, final entry then. Black 2 and White 2.
Yeah, buckle up.
It prefers to battle by biting apart foes' heads instantly while flying by at high speed. So Very
You
similar
know,
to the
it,
previous entry, but a little more specificity that really just adds a whole lot. It
yeah,
really
it doesn't.
just chef kiss. Like it's very good.
A Yanmega kiss. Just
Will shred your head instantly.
it doesn't have to, but it prefers to.
That's what it likes to do. That's what it's into, is biting your head apart.
We
It'll bite
see
whatever apart. But
yeah, it said earlier, adept at biting apart foes while flying.
mhm.
It'll pick at you wherever, but if it had its choice,
If it had its druthers.
it would definitely go for that head first and just
Hmm.
kind of chomp it right off.
Instantly.
Yeah,
One pass, one bite, one kill. Buzzes by and
yeah,
just takes that head right off. Which is a little bit more merciful than the previous picture that we were painting of them just slowly like
yeah,
biting you apart. So like I guess thanks Yanmega for like
yeah.
showing me mercy. I just really
uh,
love that I get to say the words biting apart foes' heads instantly because instantly is just that doesn't belong on the end of that sentence. You can't do that.
this is one of the many entries that I would love to have someone like David Attenborough read. Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I had a better David
oh no.
Attenborough nature documentary voice. Like, actually, I just want David Attenborough to read Pokédex entries. Is all it comes down to.
Yeah, someday.
By biting apart foes' heads instantly while flying by at high speed.
once we get our next Kickstarter stretch goal.
David on the podcast.
Yeah,
Listen, David, just be cool, man. It's gonna be great. You'll
come
love it.
on, like,
You don't need to
just
understand what's going on here. It's fine.
yeah, just come on, do it for the exposure.
Yeah, we can't pay you, David. Sorry.
Heck no.
What if David Attenborough is actually super into Pokemon, though?
I hope so. Like the core concept seems kind of way up his alley. The battling stuff maybe not so
Yeah,
much,
like
but
I've seen those episodes of Life in the Undergrowth where David Attenborough's just poking bugs with a stick.
yeah,
Like, dude could get down on some
that's how they
Pokemon.
made Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure. I'm sure he's a big nerd on the inside
a big
for
nerd.
for Pokemon.
So interesting that they talk about how powerful its jaws are when it's just got these like teeny tiny little fangs. It's like
Yeah,
kind of a comparatively little mouth, but
I mean,
apparently very strong.
its head is probably like a little bigger than a human's, and it's like got some fangs there, but it's I don't know. I'm picturing it like Venom style, like unhinging its jaw to like bite someone's head off.
Yeah, seriously. Uh, that's what it prefers.
Yeah, none of these pictures have its mouth open. I'd be curious if it's any more than just a little gap.
Yeah, I mean, if it's biting apart foes' heads, like you'd think it would have to open it pretty big.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, depending on the Pokemon's head, it's biting off.
couple of pretty scary tendencies. The focus on biting things apart is
Hmm.
scary enough, coupled with the like truly staggering implications of its wing power. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. I wish I had a better idea of sort of like I don't know how much power do you need to cause internal injuries? How much power do you need to knock a tree over? Like it's
Yeah.
it's an awful lot.
Yeah, and
Like people
yeah.
get in helicopters and they don't receive internal injuries or like more powerful than the wings of a helicopter.
Like yeah, like you said, like hurricane
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
Like maybe even more deadly than like Scyther. I don't know.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting because it's like I could see Scyther being more or at least equally deadly. Um, like I don't know. Scyther's got the whole sharpness thing going on. Like those
Sure.
claws get wicked sharp. Um, but the thing with Yanmega is that it is going to be more dangerous to more people all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just by like existing and flying
it's it's
around.
it's just hazardous to be around in
Yeah,
general.
it's just a little hurricane that like buzzes around the world. So it's like maybe Scyther is more dangerous to like one specific foe that it's trying to kill, but
Hmm.
Yanmega is just like a plague on this earth. Like
Yeah,
you, it,
they they weren't meant to evolve. Like
yeah, it wasn't supposed to be like this.
this is supposed to get a little bigger and stronger, but like Yanma is so not
Unassuming
deadly.
and cute.
Like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's gonna break a window or two,
Yeah, I know. We made a
but
big deal out of that last time, but it's like chump
because that was
change.
like the biggest deal of those entries. Like
Yeah.
it was
They were
pretty
just
much just a big dragonfly.
yeah, really psyched about the fact that it could see 360 degrees and then it evolves and it's just like these things are
Yeah,
ruining life on Earth. Like
yeah. They it's still a big dragonfly, but just now with the power of a hurricane
yeah.
and uh, predilection for decapitating people.
Oh, jeez. You have to assume that like someone shows up to like a Pokemon tournament in like a big coliseum and they're like, "Go, Yanmega," and everyone's like, "What the fuck? No!" Like, run away. Her coliseum is like demolished.
Yeah, like clearly it's not doing this in the games. Like you catch a Yanma, you evolve it into Yanmega, you say go, and you have a battle. Like it doesn't like in the games you're not being blown away.
Right,
Uh,
like you would be.
yeah, it's but they go out of their way to describe that capability. So
And
it's this
also,
weird kind of
what really screws me up is that they put accidentally on there. When it takes off in flight, it accidentally dislodges trees, and it's like,
it's not even trying.
yeah, yeah. So it's
'Cause
hard to
it's
imagine how that it wouldn't be happening like all the time.
yeah, it's this weird kind of double think you have to do with Pokemon. Like
Right, which is like kind of why it's part of the motivation for us making this podcast is trying to
hmm
like figure out if we can make that work, square that
yeah,
logical disconnect.
and so far we can't.
Yeah,
Like
I guess okay. If I was trying to, I'm gonna do my best here. Okay, I'm gonna try to create a narrative that makes sense. So to me, what it has to be is just that like the scale of the power of Yanmega's wings is just such that like there's really no upper limit. Like it can
hmm
just keep flapping its wings harder and harder and harder and like cause all this insane destruction. But to fly, to take off, to carry people, it doesn't necessarily need that much power. So it's just like maybe sometimes when it takes off, it accidentally flaps too hard and dislodges
yeah,
trees, but not
if
like every time it takes off.
if you scare it or something, startle it,
It might
and
like,
it's yeah. But okay, yeah, like I can see that. Like this is these are descriptions of its capabilities, the biting apart foes' heads preference. Maybe we kind of just put that thought to the side when we're actually playing the games. But
I mean, I bet it learns bite.
yeah,
We already talked about like, Scizor melts in battle,
yeah,
potentially, if its wings don't work. But like, I think that based on what we've read, it's okay for us to say like, yeah, maybe those Poke Centers are healing like some pretty severe damage, like some
yeah.
potentially fatal damage.
Like I don't know. Yeah, it's if this is what it's real like really like Pokemon getting pretty messed up. And I know they get pretty messed up in like some of the early manga they put out. There's some pretty violent stuff. I can't remember
Bizarre.
exactly ones. I think like an Arbok like gets its head cut off or something.
Whoa,
Like
damn.
yeah. I think it got better somehow, but
I see you like Poke Centers, man. They're doing
yeah,
some miracle work.
yeah. I really need to go back and read some of those old ones. I remember some of the old like Pikachu comics I got growing up. I don't know if they were directly related to like the manga, but remember like Ash and his friend had like a Charizard battle and they were just like tearing each other apart and bleeding and stuff, and it was
Yeesh.
a lot for my young mind to kind of take in all of a sudden.
You're like, wait, is this what I've been doing this whole time?
Yeah, holy crap.
A little bit more accepting of the like, this is basically dogfighting
Yeah.
narrative. Like,
Ugh, which
ugh.
is not a pleasant narrative. Like
Yeah, not a
I don't
good
want to.
look.
Yeah, and I swear, like I don't want this podcast to be like a exploration of like the dark, grim reality of Pokemon. But
Dark, gritty reality. Sometimes they write it that way, you know?
yeah,
Like we love Pokemon and
yeah,
we'll do our best with it, but they do sometimes write entries that are like, Jesus, y'all, this
yeah,
game is for children.
yeah. Rein it in a bit. Come on. And I just love, you know, Gold and Silver came out and they made Yanma, and that's all it was for a couple generations
Hmm.
of games. Uh, and then they got to Diamond and Pearl, I think Gen 4, and they were like, let's see if we can crank the volume up on this
Yeah.
bad boy.
Let's
Like,
pump the gas a little here.
yeah, just like what can we do? More spikes, uh, angry looking,
Sort of the
and
Mohawk
just
thing.
incredibly destructively powerful.
Yeah, and then just write some really wild stuff.
Yeah,
Go nuts with it.
it's like they looked at it and was like, huh, that one's kind of just a dragonfly. What if
Made
we
it
do this?
into a nightmare.
Yeah,
So danger scale, I don't
10.
know. I feel like I gotta say a 10.
Yeah, maybe within its own scale along with Scyther among the 10, but maybe I don't know. Maybe the scale changes as we add more Pokemon to it, but
Yeah,
I'd say they're both pretty comfortable
yeah, I would say
and at
Scythe.
least the 9 to 10 range.
Right, yeah, Scyther and Yanmega both make sense at 10 to me still. We haven't seen anything that has made me think we have to reduce those values.
Hmm.
Um, not
The
human. Not human at
well,
all.
the only thing that would tempt me to maybe bump up the human factor a little bit is its preference for biting apart foes'
Yeah,
heads.
right. Yeah, sure. I mean, you could, I guess, argue uh, like there's, a wolf prefers to go for the throat or something, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But like,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it's not like that's just the most efficient way of killing something. Like, it's got a lot of ways that it can kill something, and it specifically does prefer to bite foes' heads apart,
Yeah.
which
And
I do kind of enjoy looking at that as like it's just really enjoys it. It's just the thing that
yeah.
it does for fun.
It's and it's capable of transporting an adult in flight, but it doesn't, do so regularly out of some kind of
Yeah,
benevolent
not like a
nature.
habit of its or something.
Yeah. So probably still like a 1 on the human scale, maybe a 2, but
Yeah, yeah, say it too.
yeah. But yeah, overall just better in every way. Just
Yeah, it's
the
still
perfect
got.
killing machine
Yep,
evolved from the mild-mannered Yanma.
it's still still just a dragonfly, but it's just a superpower dragonfly.
Yep.
It's just a yeah, yeah. If I was had Yanma on my team and then it evolved into this, I'd be pretty psyched.
Yeah.
Good design.
It's lost its cuteness.
Yeah, it's
Kind of
definitely a little scarier.
its eyes. You can't even tell where it's looking. It's just presumably looking in all directions at all times.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, it doesn't even mention that in these entries, which like I I can understand why. There's a lot of other ground to cover.
Yeah, we moved on from the eyes strictly to the jaws and wings
Hmm.
as being the main forces
Which,
going on here.
they're pretty impressive.
Yeah, I feel like that pretty much wraps it up for the Ogre Darner Pokemon.
Hmm.
Uh,
Watch out
Anything
for the
else?
Ogre Darner.
Yeah, like don't make an enemy of this if you want to keep your head.
Hmm.
But yeah, thanks for listening. This is our fourth episode.
Yeah, I don't know that we have anything else. I guess just still, if you have any Pokemon World questions, we're still kicking around the idea of doing a primer episode, a Pokemon primer.
Once we get some time for a little bonus episode, we'll make like an episode 0 primer,
Hmm.
I think,
Yeah,
for
so,
people if they want to get into that.
submit your questions if you have anything specific that you want to know about.
Yeah. Um, Go beyond the ball at gmail.com, uh, twitter.com, go beyond the ball, Facebook, beyond the ball, podcast. We're on the grid. Like us, review us, subscribe us, all that good stuff.
Hmm.
I would love to see more people listen to it. Not that that has any effect on us doing this. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
think we're probably going to do this regardless.
there's there's like 806 Pokemon now,
God,
and
we
I
could do this for if we do
yeah,
this weekly, we could
we
do.
could do 800 weeks of this.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, which
Which
I'm
is
committed to.
yeah, oh for sure. Which is I just that inclines me to be like more open to taking people's submissions, I guess, or
Yeah,
suggestions. I don't know. We could do like special occasion requests.
yeah, or like for maybe some guest hosts or something.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But but yeah, so yeah, thanks for listening. This has been Beyond the Ball, talking about Yanmega. Next week, we'll be talking about this Pokemon. Can you guess what it is?
I will be
Let us
amazed.
let us know. Uh, there's, I feel like I can identify a few Pokemon by their cry, but
It's true.
yeah, it's tough. So yeah, thanks for listening. My name is Brayden.
And I'm Will.
Go beyond the ball.